Highbridge Audio presents The Solution Revolution: How Business, Government, and Social Enterprises are Teaming Up to Solve Society's Toughest Problems, by William D. Eggers and Paul MacMillan. Read by Rick Adamson. Introduction. The power of the solution economy. The new trillion-dollar market for public good. Shel Silverstein's wildly popular children's book, The Giving Tree, has been translated into more than 30 languages since its initial publication in 1964. The story chronicles a tree's enduring devotion to a boy. At first, the tree provides the simple comforts of shade and refreshment. But as it meets the boy's continuing demands, it relinquishes everything, down to its apples, branches, and trunk. Eventually, all that remains is a humble stump, which even then is put to use. Like the tree in Silverstein's story, governments are finding the problems they've agreed to address to be truly insatiable. During the 20th century, the need to tackle massive public problems, such as public health epidemics and large infrastructure development, meant that government became the center of solving big problems. From building the Hoover Dam to eradicating smallpox, from economic development in Africa to education worldwide, government was the place to be for those who wanted to change the world for the better. The Great Society's war on poverty, an unlimited war against want, was perhaps the zenith of this identification of government with great achievement, or at least great aspiration. There is very little that we haven't asked from government in modern times. We ask it to keep us safe from terrorists and to protect our privacy, to prevent global economic meltdowns and stop the contagion of failing states, to bail out banks and contain the spiraling costs of an array of competing vital interests, from healthcare to education. The sheer range and variety of these goals mean that government agencies often find themselves working at cross purposes. Public health agencies fund obesity programs, while the U.S. Department of Agriculture subsidizes sugar. Transportation departments fight traffic congestion on the one hand, while subsidizing road use on the other. International development agencies provide aid to farmers in the developing world, while trade barriers keep foreign agricultural goods out of Western markets. Developing countries may lack such an ambitious public sector, but neither can they afford to produce one, at least not the same model as the West. For these countries, it would take decades for GDP growth to grow fast enough to support industrial-age government, with its soaring costs in health care and education. Consider India. Per capita health care spending in India would have to increase 37-fold to match Canadian spending levels. At current rates of growth, this wouldn't happen until 2070, much too late considering India's rapidly growing middle class. India simply can't afford to take the high-cost Western route. Increasingly, the West can't either. The defining feature of Western-style government, its success in catering to a wide variety of citizen needs, has become its greatest liability. Governments are going broke while contorting themselves into ever-stranger positions to satisfy often contradictory constituent demands. In Colorado Springs, for instance, tight budgets led to reduced city services and, ultimately, a system in which community residents made a la carte purchases. If a neighborhood wanted its street lamps to light up at dusk, it could pay the city a $125 fee. Keep the nearby park maintained? $2,500. In Europe and North America, the Great Recession forced governments on a path of austerity, causing them to reduce their police forces and close schools, libraries, and hospitals they could simply no longer afford. And with debt growing at a rate of roughly $4 billion per day in the United States and more in Europe, fiscal constraints have become the new normal.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?